Welcome back to very special episodes, where we revisit those powerful, emotional, and sometimes downright intense moments in animated TV that hit a little harder than expected. For part 15, we're diving into everything from grief and guilt to addiction, bullying, and mental health. Yes, even in cartoons. These episodes weren't just filler. They left marks, delivered lessons, and sometimes went to places we never expected. Whether it was a Care Bear waking up a misunderstood monster, or a TMNT farewell that broke fans' hearts, these episodes proved that animation could be just as serious and just as unforgettable as live-action drama. Let's run it back. The Care Bears, the sleeping giant. In this heartfelt episode, Baby Hugs and Tugs meet a towering sleeping giant who's trying to return to his 100-year nap. Instead of being afraid, the cubs invite him to play. And to his surprise, he enjoys it. While Tenderheart Bear searches for a special slumber flower to help the giant sleep again, the cubs and their new friend bond over games like hopscotch and hide and seek, forming a genuine friendship. When Tenderheart returns with news of a whole valley of slumber flowers, the giant hesitates. He now wants to stay awake and join the Care Bear family. But when a tornado threatens the cubs, he bravely runs through the flower-filled valley to save them, knowing it may put him to sleep. After the storm, the giant slumbers once more and the cubs are devastated. Tenderheart gently reminds them that as long as they carry him in their hearts, their friend is never truly gone. The episode serves as a gentle allegory for death and grief, giving young children a way to understand the loss of a loved one and how memories and love can keep someone with us, even after they're gone. Arthur, the Great MacGrady. This emotional episode of Arthur takes a sensitive and honest look at how children process a loved one battling cancer. When Mrs. MacGrady, the beloved school cafeteria cook, unexpectedly goes on leave, the students are left baffled and disgusted by the poor substitute meals served by her nephew Skip. But what truly shakes them is Mr. Ratburn's announcement that Mrs. MacGrady is out because she has cancer. The kids each respond differently. Arthur and DW try to support her with gifts and comfort, while Muffy remains in denial, and Francine, having lost her grandfather to the disease, is overwhelmed with sadness and fear. Francine eventually finds encouragement from a surprising source, wrestler Uncle Slam, a cancer survivor, who inspires her to channel her emotions into something positive, a charity bike race called Pedal for a Cure. The episode does a wonderful job showing how grief, confusion, and helplessness can be transformed into empathy and action. From Muffy learning that helping isn't always about gift-giving, to Francine's emotional reconciliation with Mrs. MacGrady, it's a heartfelt story about compassion, resilience, and supporting those we care about, especially when they need it most. Flintstone Kids, Just Say No Special. This special episode of the Flintstone Kids goes full force into 1980s anti-drug messaging, with a storyline that sees Wilma tempted to hang with an older crowd led by a preteen stoner named Stony. As she drifts away from her usual crew, Freddie, Barney, and Betty, Wilma is pressured to try marijuana but ultimately decides to confide in her parents, who assure her that a real friend would never offer her drugs. Backed by her true friends and a LaToya Jackstone, yes, the prehistoric version of LaToya Jackson's song titled Just Say No, the kids form their own anti-drug club and vow to stick to their values. The second half of the special sees Freddie launching a pet washing business to raise money for tickets to the big Michael Jackstone concert, only for Stony to sabotage the effort. When the kids uncover the truth, they decide to beat Stony fair and square in the local riddle rally. And they do. Stony is ultimately rejected by his own crew and arrested for drug use, while the rest join the Just Say No Club. The special ends with a parody of Michael Jackson's Beat It, reworked with anti-drug lyrics, followed by a PSA from then First Lady Nancy Reagan. It's pure 80s moral messaging with a prehistoric twist, and an unmissable piece of cartoon-era history. SWAT Cats, Razor's Edge. In one of SWAT Cat's most emotionally driven episodes, Razor's self-confidence is shattered after he believes he seriously injured two elderly civilians during a high-speed chase with Dark Cat. Racked with guilt and doubt, Razor begins to question whether he's still fit to be a hero. This sends him into a downward spiral, contemplating stepping away from the SWAT Cats entirely, leaving T-Bone to take on Dark Cat's newest evil scheme alone. It's a rare moment of introspection in a show typically known more for high-octane action than emotional weight. What makes this episode stand out is its commitment to character development, something not often seen in the series. Razor's internal struggle reflects the psychological toll that constant danger and destruction can have on a hero. There's still room for humor, including a cleverly choreographed hospital fight scene that balances the episode's darker tone. The only flaw is the overused trope of Dark Cat's bumbling henchmen, which slightly undercuts the drama. Still, Razor's Edge offers a surprising depth and seriousness, proving SWAT Cats was capable of much more than just aerial fights and exploding buildings. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012, Owari. Following the devastating events of Requiem, where Splinter was killed by Super Shredder, Owari opens with the Turtles, April, Casey, and their allies gathered at the farmhouse to mourn their fallen father and sensei. It's a moment of stillness and grief, a rarity in a series so packed with action. Leonardo, feeling the weight of responsibility, receives a vision from Splinter's spirit urging him to become the new sensei and end Super Shredder's reign once and for all. It's an emotional torch-passing moment that speaks to legacy, leadership, and closure. The imagery of Leo watching petals float into the sunlight is subtle but powerful, a visual metaphor for moving forward through loss. The second half of the episode returns us to action, but not without stakes. From infiltrating Super Shredder's hideout and facing his elite footbots, to emotional battles against Tiger Claw and the mutated villains Bebop, Rocksteady, and Fishface, the Turtles press forward with purpose. Ultimately, Leonardo faces Super Shredder alone in a brutal rooftop duel. Nearly defeated, Leo is reminded by Splinter's spirit of his mission. With one final strike, he defeats the monster who took their father. The closing moment as Leo tosses Shredder's Kabuto to the ground is cathartic and emotional. The Turtles have avenged Splinter, but they know the war isn't over. They'll keep fighting, with Splinter's memory living on in their hearts. It's a stunning, powerful finale to the Shredder arc, and one of the most emotional TMNT episodes ever made. Static Shock, where the rubber meets the road. This episode of Static Shock takes a superhero twist on a real-world issue, dyslexia. When Rubberband Man, aka Adam, goes on a date with Virgil's sister Sharon, he struggles to read the menu, subtly revealing his learning disability. The issue intensifies during a battle against the villain Tarmac, who steals a powerful fusion engine from Edwin Alva's lab. As Adam tries to follow Alva's instructions to stop Tarmac, he freezes. He can't read the override commands. His hesitation allows Tarmac to escape, and Alva unfairly blames him for the failure. Later, Rubberband Man opens up to Static, admitting that he has dyslexia. With Static's encouragement, he begins to understand that it's nothing to be ashamed of, and that with support and the right tools, it can be managed. When a showdown with Tarmac leads to a damaged fusion engine and a collapsing building, Adam is the one who retrieves the engine and, with some improvisation, successfully deactivates it, proving that a learning difference doesn't mean he can't be a hero. The episode ends with a PSA-style message from Static and Rubberband Man about dyslexia, breaking the stigma and reminding viewers that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. DuckTales 2017, The Last Crash of the Sun Chaser. What begins as a thrilling family adventure quickly turns into one of DuckTales' most emotional and character-defining episodes. While the family heads to Monocro for a vacation, the kids secretly piece together clues about Della Duck and the mysterious Spear of Selene. But everything changes when the plane crashes atop a cliffside peak, and Dewey risks his safety to retrieve a single piece of a long-lost document. As tension builds and the plane teeters on the edge, the emotional weight of the mystery finally comes crashing down, both literally and figuratively. Cornered, Scrooge is forced to reveal the painful truth. Della took the rocket he built as a surprise, flew into a cosmic storm, and became stranded in space. Although he tried everything to save her, it wasn't enough. The boys, devastated, blame him for encouraging her recklessness, and the emotional fallout fractures the family. In the end, everyone survives the plane's fall, but back at the manor, the consequences linger. The triplets leave in silence. Beakley and Webby distance themselves, and Scrooge, for the first time, is truly alone. It's an episode that shows how guilt, grief, and unspoken truth can break even the strongest families, and why healing starts with honesty.
Move it, football head! Hey Arnold!
Hey Arnold! Hey Harold! This Hey Arnold episode offers a surprisingly sweet and meaningful story about insecurity, bullying, and connection. When Rhonda throws a boy-girl party, Harold initially mocks the idea, insisting he hates dancing and girls. But after a heart-to-heart on the balcony with the often overlooked Patty, the two form an unexpected bond. They both open up about being labeled dumb and isolated, Patty for being tough, and Harold for being held back in school. Their awkward dance leads to a shared moment of vulnerability, respect, and even the beginnings of a crush. As Harold and Patty grow closer, Harold faces ridicule from his friends Stinky and Sid, who tease him for liking Big Patty. In a moment of courage, Harold stands up for Patty in the cafeteria, shouting down the entire lunchroom and proudly defending her intelligence and kindness. The episode closes on a heartwarming note as Harold joins Patty at her lunch table, no longer ashamed of his friendship, and possibly more with her. It's a beautiful story about self-acceptance, confronting peer pressure, and realizing that true connection comes from seeing someone for who they really are.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
SpongeBob SquarePants. Have you seen this snail? This episode shows the typically lighthearted SpongeBob at its most emotional. After neglecting his pet snail Gary, SpongeBob is devastated when Gary runs away. What follows is a sincere, surprisingly sad depiction of guilt and the fear of losing someone you love. SpongeBob's heartbreak is captured in the now iconic ballad, Gary Come Home, which struck a chord with viewers of all ages. What makes this episode stand out is its honesty. Beneath the comedy and absurdity is a real message about appreciating those who depend on you, and the pain of taking someone for granted. It's one of the few times the show slows down to let its main character truly feel something, and the result is one of the most memorable and emotional episodes in SpongeBob history. Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon, Ren Seeks Help. This episode dives headfirst into psychological horror, as Ren spirals into a full-blown mental crisis. After terrifying Stimpy with his unstable behavior, Ren promises to get help and seeks therapy from Mr. Horse. During the session, Ren recounts disturbing childhood memories of animal abuse, especially a prolonged torment of a frog that begged for death. His parents eventually force him to finish the job, but Ren fakes it and throws the frog away alive. As the session ends, Mr. Horse becomes enraged by Ren's confessions, calling him insane and saying he belongs in prison. The confrontation escalates into a brutal fight, ending with Ren killing Mr. Horse in a fit of rage. Ambulance workers arrive to take Ren away to an asylum. Disturbing and graphic, this episode is less comedy and more a raw look into madness, guilt, and the consequences of untreated mental illness. And that wraps up part 15 of very special episodes. Whether it was the quiet grief of losing a pet, the struggle of living with a learning difference, or the dark introspection of mental health in animation. These episodes reminded us that cartoons could say a lot more than we ever expected. A huge shout out and heartfelt thank you to our amazing Throwback Tier members, Peace by Chaos, Thecula, iCritic, Mary Jarrell, Jeremy Bowen, Mr. Blanks, and Sonic and Leighton Fan. Your support means the world, and you're helping keep the nostalgia alive in a big way. I also want to thank all the other awesome members who support the channel. Whether you're new or you've been rocking with us from the beginning, I appreciate every single one of you. If you'd like to help the channel grow even more, don't forget to check out the merch shop. It's another great way to show support and rep that nostalgic love wherever you go. If any of these moments hit you hard or brought back memories, drop a comment below and let us know which episode stuck with you the most. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next dive into nostalgic TV. And as always, keep the nostalgia alive.